make sure I have the right place. You said chapter 8, verse 1?
We are going to begin at verse 1 of Esther, chapter 8.
Okay.
All right. When I ask you to read, you will begin. I welcome all of you to the Supernatural Warfare series. We are building a big library of supernatural warfare. You'll see some of it comes with a short, the abbreviation SW, which means supernatural warfare. And we are very, very happy that we've been able to put this together for you to enjoy, for you to study and to see the pattern of how God does his business, the protocols and business of heaven, how it is organized, how things are put together. All right. Let's go. You see, I am spending this month to do this series to present to you how the protocols and business of God is done in terms of supernatural warfare, especially when it goes with fasting and prayer. I'm showing you that the results are always the same. Those of you who were with us in the afternoon session, you were also able to see how if you want certain things so desperately, and you know in your heart, let me put it this way: be careful about what is driving you. Be very careful about what is driving you. What is the drive behind what you are doing? Just be very careful. Because you will end up having what you are looking for, and it will not turn out to be good. I've shown you all in the Bible with the Pharaoh in the Exodus story, all the way to the story of Haman. It's always people losing their position to people that they oppressed. That's a law. That's a law that has been put together. Be careful who you hate, because you will look like them and worse than them. That's why it's not a good thing if your father and mother did some wrong things in the past. The best thing is for you to seal it. If there's been some evil things that has happened to you, deal with it and shut up and stop talking about it. Don't play the victim anymore. It's not going to work. Tonight we want to wrap up the book of Esther, whereby we've been looking at the pattern. We've seen here that in the heart of a lot of human beings, there is a desire to wipe out other human beings so that them alone can remain on the earth. You have to be aware of this. If you are not aware of this, you'll be a fool to just think that life is just what you think it is. Please, if you are moving around or doing something, press mute so that we don't hear what you are doing. Because you see, the conference call that you are into is very, it will pick up every little thing you do. It will pick it up. The microphone is very strong. all that I've been showing you, and why you should fast, and why you should pray, some heavy prayers, has to do with the fact that there are people who have learned how to take advantage of other human beings. They've learned it since they were a child, or they've learned it from family members. They've learned what they should use to do trading. And you have to be aware of this. And I'm going to just let you be aware of another thing. In many instances, people never really change. They don't change. They can be born again, spirit-filled, but their innermost nature never really changes. You have to know this for a fact. That's why I don't like communities and environment that is deeply guarded and implemented through religious eyes or political eyes. I don't like those environments. I can tell you that I have total disdain and hatred for them. Any environment in which religion and politics or a particular philosophy is used to push an agenda, I have a total disdain and hatred for it. I'm serious. Because at the end of the day, when you violate the thing that God has put on this earth to run the universe, there will always be a catastrophe for that person. Now, you mean to tell me that in the years to come, when you talk about the liberation of Zimbabwe, that people will be clapping for Robert Mugabe? No. In fact, people will be doing everything not to be associated with him and to get rid of him in their history books. Just as simple as that. While other people will be running to be associated with Nelson Mandela and to put him in their history books. Just as simple as that. People will be doing everything to be associated with Gandhi, Mahatma. I just want you to see how these things work. People who try to bully their way through always go down in history as the trash of the streets. I've known that for a fact. It doesn't normally go well. It's because there is an in thing. There is something that got sneaked into the bowels of the soil of the earth when Jesus finished creating the earth. Something was sneaked in here. That's why the world is littered with families that used to be very wealthy, and today they are homeless. If humility, creativity, truth is not part of the game, something gonna go wrong. People are gonna be sidelined by what God has put into this earth. That's why I think one of my journey here on earth is to enlighten people about being human first. Then they can be whatever they want to be, second or third. Even Jesus himself said this word. Even Jesus himself, he said this word. He said a human being was made first and his needs is supposed to come first. That's what I mean. Not that we were created first. The human being's need should come first. Not his religion, not his race, not his language, not his education, not a big family name. The Sabbath was made for a human being, was made for man, which means man and woman, and not man to be sacrificed for the Sabbath. Because behind every society governed by some deep-seated dirty laws, D-I-R-T-Y, dirty and wicked laws. A lot of the laws of this earth, there's a lot of evil behind them. A lot of wickedness behind a lot of stuff. And you've seen it. Can be one person's anger will make the rest, will bully the rest, or coerce, or deceive, or manipulate the rest to put in a law that is unnecessary. We are simply following the example of some race or races on the earth. That you can enter into somewhere and come there with friendliness and end up having opportunity and wipe the people out. And then take over. And then imposes your own laws against everybody else. And that's how the history of the world has been. In every culture, in every nation, many of them, it has read like that. Let's go to Esther chapter 8, verse 1. And let's begin to look. Before Zelina... Huh?
We are done with 8 up to, it is 11, 12.
Okay, let's see. Let me see. 11, 12. What do 11 says? Let me see. Oh, okay. That's why I always want you to look out for me. Okay, he wrote in the king's name. Hold on, I think we wanted to start at verse number 9. Yep, we are going to start at verse number 9. We are going to start at verse number 9.
Okay.
We are going to start at verse 9. Thank you, Mary, for being very sensitive to this. Yeah, you are right. We've done up to verse number 8. We even read that verse 9, but we are going to repeat it again. This is what I'm going to share with you all before we continue. Never admit anybody into your life based on the fact that they are the same religion with you. Never. Including religious leaders, do not allow it. Do not allow anybody into your life based on the fact that they are the same race with you, same culture, same language, or you hold the same political views or philosophical views. Do not do that. Because people, human beings, especially wicked human beings, have learned how to use those things to oppress people and to do evil. Even if somebody comes to you and they tell you that they are born again and spirit-filled, do not accept it. Because there is a side of them, their real nature is what you are trying to discover, not they are going to heaven. They're going to heaven. That's none of your business. The most important thing you need to discover about a person is what kind of spirit is this person. Because every human being is a spirit. And you need to ask the Holy Ghost to show you who they are and to expose them so that you can know how they naturally behave. And then it's up to you to decide whether you can tolerate that or not. All you need to do when you see some wealthy people is sit around them when they light up their cigar and are drinking wine or whiskey or bourbon or whatever kind of alcohol. Listen to what they are talking about. If the person constantly is talking about, they're talking about the big girls, what they do, all kind of stuff, you know who they are, what kind of spirit they are. Constantly they're on their phone with a mistress or with a girl. Things like that. You just know. You don't need to think, oh, this is a one-time thing. That's their spirit. If they can cheat in their marriage, then they will cheat in their businesses. Even Paul the Apostle had his own problem. Peter was worse. Peter was worse. Peter was an outright, his nature wasn't good. The real nature of who Peter, one of the disciples of Jesus, was worse than almost all of the other disciples, except for Judas Iscariot, who was the worst of all of them, followed by Peter. The nature of Peter, naturally as a human being, was very wrong, very bad. Very power hungry, hypocritical, opinionated, or a control freak. Of all the disciples, that's the one that is asking Jesus, what are you saying about John? Because he was thinking that John occupied a very special place with Jesus. And Jesus said, whatever I'm doing with him, what has that got to do with you? You mind your own business. That's what Jesus told him. You can imagine that. After Agabus took his robe, because that was a prophet, took the belt, tie Paul, and said, Paul, do not go to Jerusalem. What did Paul say? Even if it means that I'm going to die for the Lord, I'll go. Everybody persuaded Paul, don't go to Jerusalem. Don't go to Jerusalem. And you know about the protocol and business. When the Holy Ghost has warned you and you are insisting on your own, then the Lord will tell you, okay, go. You've seen it in the Bible. When you insist so much on something, the Lord will ask you to go. Because that's what you want to do. You want to be a star. So go and be a star. And prove to the rest that you are the best apostle that's giving your life. You have given your life to die like Jesus. And Jesus didn't ask you to do that. That's why the tradition of how Peter died, that Peter died like Jesus, is not there in the Bible. That's completely falsehood. That's a pure lie from hell. Peter, who couldn't stand a few minutes to defend Jesus, and lied and swore and took an oath and said he doesn't even know who that man is. He's the guy who is going to die like Jesus for Jesus. You're kidding me. See, that's where I differ. When it comes to church tradition, I'll tell you, let's go back to the word. Because I don't believe none of that nonsense. Immaculate Mary. Nobody has ever been born immaculate. except Jesus. His mother wasn't immaculate because she's a daughter of Adam and Eve, like you and I. And we make up these things, and when we make up all this, that becomes witchcraft. We try to bewitch people. When Paul saw death coming, and the Jewish people wanted to kill him, he now appealed to Caesar. Go and read the Bible. The same Paul, he was bragging. Agabus begged him. Everywhere where Paul went, there was a prophecy, do not go to Jerusalem. And who was behind those prophecies? The Holy Ghost. And Paul insisted, he's going, he's going. When he went there and he saw death, he now appealed to Caesar. He didn't say, here am I, you can kill me. No. See, I go deep to look at the word, to look at people's nature, how it plays a part with what is going on. Like Saul and Samuel. There was a war between Saul and Samuel till the day Samuel died. And what was the cause of that warfare? If you look at the word carefully, you'll discover that Samuel did not really want any king in Israel. He wanted the prophets to rule Israel forever and not kings. And they were succeeding in that matter. Samuel didn't like the concept of just anybody being chosen to be a king. He thought that prophets should have been the king. And he was right. Because throughout the Old Testament period, it was the prophets who laid the army, who advised the kings. Without them, Israel would have crumbled a long time ago. And Samuel was right. So Samuel really never liked Saul. And he tolerated him, thinking that, well, this is going to be a good man who's going to follow the way of the prophets, who's going to follow the way of the Spirit. Because the way of the prophet is the way of the Spirit. And Saul deviated from it, while David came into it and succeeded. Don't read the Bible from a religious point of view. Read it from heaven's point of view, and also read it from human point of view. See the emotion, see the politics, see the battles, see the bloodshed. Don't cover those things. See the intrigues, the secrecy, the betrayal. Let's go to verse number 9 of Esther, chapter 8. Let's read. Zelina, God bless you tonight for choosing to read for us. I'm going to need people who are going to be standard readers for our ministry. I'm going to need them. And I'm going to train you on how to read the word, so that when you begin to read, the Spirit of God will flow with that reading. It will come alive. It will not be just a written word. It will become something that is happening in the now. The drama is being reenacted immediately and starts to affect us. Keep reading, my dear.
So the king's scribes were called at that time in the 3rd month, which is the month of Sivan, on the 23rd day, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded to the Jews, the satraps, the governors, and the princes of the provinces from India to Ethiopia, 127 provinces.
Stop there, stop there. Now, who is commanding this?
Mordecai.
Mordecai. I want you to be aware that the position God is inspiring you, even if you're a gatekeeper, a common security officer, and nobody, watch what is going on in you. Something is being awakened for you to do. There's something natural in you for you to do. And at the appropriate time, it doesn't matter who is occupying that seat. eye that seat and see yourself as one day going to be in that place. And the rest will be history.
Amen.
Many of you who followed my ministry, the ministry of Jesus, that he has asked me to share with him, and he has asked you to share with him with me, many of you will form some of the most standard communities where you are that will blow the minds of people in terms of housing, in terms of high-class life, and yet you will still be a very humble person and very creative.
Yeah.
And very, very creative. Yeah. Do not see yourself as somebody who is just passing by. You are not passing by. That used to be the Christianity of ancient times. Oh, I'm just passing by. I'm just a pilgrim passing by. People of God, I'm not a pilgrim. I'm not passing by. Okay? That's not Christianity. Although it's part of it. But that's just a minute, tiny part of it. If I'm just a pilgrim passing by, I'm not passing by nowhere. I am exerting my influence on this earth. Whoever will come after me will know that a powerful guy came to this earth. And I am still visibly and invisibly present. Did Jesus just come to pass by? No. Did Abraham just come to pass by? No. We are still reading about them. The world they are the world's heroes. And even if Mordecai and Esther were in other people's land, in quote, now that land belongs to them. And how do you know it? See, God keeps showing us patterns, and I hope you are picking it. The estate of Haman the wicked now belong to Esther first, and Esther now gave it to Mordecai second. Why? Why do you think the king gave the estates of Haman to Esther? And we said yesterday, to pacify her anger, to cheer her up with that. But there is another reason. Another reason for that is this. Esther, and it dawned on the king immediately that really? He said, Esther, come here. Come, my queen. Because the king never addressed Esther by name. Never. Throughout the days of the life of Esther and that king and King Xerxes, King Ahasuerus, that king never addressed Esther by name. He never called Esther my wife. He saw Esther as the queen. My queen, come to me. I now got it. So your people, you come from among the people that were captured as, were captured and brought to this land? And Esther said, yes, I got it. You know what? I'm going to make it up to you. You see, I, the king, come from a long tradition of warriors, businessmen, people that build alliances with nations. Either we conquer them or we give them opportunity to come and join so that they can be under our empire. and be strong. Together we walk onward together. That's what the Navy says. Onward together. And the Army says forward together. So people, listen to this. Ahasuerus, the king, since Esther is this kind of person, since this is her background, I have to give her physically something that will make her know that this land is now hers. She and her people have the right to that land. See, you see, this king, when you read his life, he was better than a lot of Jewish kings. You never read about this kind of king except the Pharaoh that you see that Joseph saved was almost like this king, but not quite. This king was like 1,000 times better than any Pharaoh, including the one of Joseph's time. This king was very godly, very smart, and was detailed. Very detailed. He didn't leave anything to chance. We can tell by the mistakes this king made that he learned very quickly. Number one, the mistake he made in his first marriage with Vashti, whether that was the first or second, we don't know. But with the marriage with Vashti, the queen that he removed, we can tell that he was inexperienced when he came to the throne. And it took him many years to learn human nature. And that is why women went through, ladies went through the process they have to go through for selection. Because he has learned very bitterly. Many of you don't want to learn. You want prophecy. And prophecy will destroy you. Since you do not want to learn natural things. You want God to come and do what you should do yourself. The investigation, you should investigate yourself. You want shortcut. And through prophecy, you will never succeed. Because there is a place for prophecy. And there is a place for your natural intelligence to kick in, to find things out yourself. Let me tell you, con artists, whether they be leaders or whether they be religious leaders or business leaders or political leaders, they are all the same con artists to me. They are not different. They are all looking for innocent people who do not read, innocent people, naive people who do not find things out for themselves. And wherever you find those kind of people, they will spend money to build radio and television in order to lie to you. That's why I don't watch TV sometimes. Unless, because I have my own channels that I watched. They are educational channels only. All the news from CNN to BBC to some of them, I can pick the truth and I can see the lie. I can see the mockery, can see all that stuff going on. See, the king gave that lady, Queen Esther, and says, since your background is a poor background, you have nothing. Let's begin with, you are becoming a titular holder of lands, of property. And then Queen Esther turned around and gave it to Haman to take care of. Think about that. And now, and gave it to Mordecai, excuse me, and gave it to Mordecai to take care of. Mordecai. She gave the house, the estate of Haman to Mordecai, her uncle to take care of. What was Esther doing by that also? She is giving Mordecai a hold of what makes you to be a power player anywhere you go. Is the land. Property. Property talks.
Amen.
That's why in everything that God does, He gives you land. Mary, remind me for us to look at the issue of land in the Bible. Let's develop a library on that. Maybe that will help this generation and the generations to come, because they don't understand this. The issue of land. How that is a priority. Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, people are trying to kick you out, make you not to buy there, make you not to have much. Why? So that they can rule over you. Land is what will determine everything at the end of the day. Really?
Yeah.
And many of us were not brought up to know this. It wasn't a human being who told me things about land. It was the Holy Ghost who sat me down a whole day and dictated to me things about land. And I went through the Bible and I discovered this is the truth. My parent never sat me down to tell me about this. And your parents haven't either. I'm pretty sure. Mordecai now is occupying the position that Haman used to occupy. He is now dictating what is to be written in a new decree. Let me tell you, with fasting and prayer and intelligence and detail and sensitivity, which is part of intelligence, exercise of good intelligence, good rationality, quality empirical reasoning, critical assessment of issues, investigative approach to life. That's what will give you success. Don't believe anybody who just tells you believe. That will turn you into a zombie. I saw something that really, really touched me. They were trying to move a cow from the different, they put them in sections in the farmers in the big farms, and they brought this female cow. They brought her out for the veterinary doctor to check to see whether she's pregnant. So they are trying to calm her down. They are trying to calm her down so as to take her to another place where they will do that, where the doctor can do that. The cow didn't want to go. And they did everything, the cow didn't want to go. So finally they were forcing the cow out, and the cow targeted the owner, the farmer himself, and went to him and kicked him and hit him. And he went tumbling. It's like, did you not hear me tell you, leave me alone? I don't want to go. Even a cow has intelligence, has willpower. Even a cow doesn't want to go to the butcher. Listen to this. Mordecai is now calling the shot. Do not underestimate what is about to happen to you, because many of you will be calling the shot. You belong somewhere. Where you are now may be or may not be. where you are to be the leader or to be the ruler. Make sure you tell God to make you a leader and a ruler that has strong financial backing attached to you and land and property attached to you. You do not just want to be a leader of a Sunday school. Stop looking at leadership from the church, because that's what we do. We want it cheap. We want leadership on the cheap. Mary, write that down for me. Let me do something with that. Leadership on the cheap. You see, if I was a leader on the cheap, I would not be teaching you all this or ministering to you about this or praying for you or giving you direction the way I'm doing, because I am out to make money, so I won't do that. I will never do it. But because money is not the primary motivation for what I'm doing, that's why I go this route.
Thank you, Bishop.
Yeah. Wherever money and material resources is the motive, no pastor, no prophet will go this route. They will never do it. Never in their lifetime will they do it.
It's true.
Mordecai is now about to change an existing decree. Please listen carefully to this. This is what fasting and prayer does. It's not just attacking devils and Lucifer, because that's all people tell you about spiritual warfare. Let's go and pray and pull down this and pull. They don't tell you spiritual warfare from an earthly perspective, from this earth realm. They tell you just go ahead and attack devils. And they don't show you the intrigues of the palaces of kings, of the corridors of politics of humans, of the hearts and minds of human beings that can easily be possessed by devils and used for whatever they want to. There is no decree that has been made that cannot be reversed. Because people make you feel like, because the law is there, that is just the law. All it takes is for the right person to be in the right place, and that law will be reversed.
Amen.
So every court case that we determine against you, every law that we put against you, must be reversed one way or the other. And that's all I can tell you.
Hallelujah.
Every injustice that we put against you, please let me tell you something. Those of you in the East Coast and other places of the earth, make sure that immediately 6 o'clock, you break your fast, you eat a lot, drink a lot, be strong, so that you will know what you're doing. I don't want you to be feeling bad and sorry and hungry. That's why Jesus said, look cheerful. Look good. See how I dress. I dress youthful because that's who I am. I'm an everlasting youth. I am Mwa baby. Mwebe. That's who I am. I'm not letting myself down on how I look. Make sure I wake up very early to do my meditation. Shower, get myself prepared for the day and go to the altar to say my morning communion. And pray for those who are my covenant partners. Then I start my day. Those are things that are the most important things in my life. Every other thing can wait until those things are done. And whether I'm fasting for 1 year or I'm fasting for how many days, of course, I live a fasted life anyway. And many of you do not know what a fasted life comprises of. I live a fasted life. If you didn't know it, there have been years that I fasted from January 1 to December 31st. Yep. And nobody knew it. And doors were just opening just like that. Just like that. There will be some of you in one of the months to come. I'm not mentioning the month, that I'm going to take some of you on a journey. There are some of you who qualify for certain things, and I'm going to call you and tell you this is where we are heading. And I'm going to introduce you to the fasted lifestyle. It's not for everybody. I must know you personally. You've been around me. What we are doing this 1 month is an introduction to how your life is going to be when things happen. But what about when things are not happening? How do you make things to keep happening all the time? So that you are calling things that are not as though they are. Mary, write that down and find a portion and write it down for me. You think he's just standing there and just saying, I command a car to come out in the name of Jesus? Nope. Are you part of the in thing? Those are the people. Mary, write this down. People that talks to mountains. Write that down. I need it. People that talks to mountain. And people that call things out of the invisible. I need to incorporate it into this supernatural warfare thing. So don't think that because you were born broke or born rich and then back to poverty, nobody is willing to train you or to help you. So you went into an early marriages to escape your family and declare your independence. Because that's what people do. When they want to declare their independence, they get married. And then you go there and you see problems. And then you know that it's not exactly what you thought it is. And then you try to run back home. And you discover that they don't want you back. So you start to struggle on your own for the first time. See, let me tell you. You can be remade. See, the Jews at this time are struggling with a decree that has condemned them to death and for their property to be confiscated. Their businesses to be burned down or taken over. So that day was to be a mass burial. That's what the decree says. And even though the person who wrote that decree in the name of the king and the kingdom is now dead, the decree is still there. Even though you've left a man or you left a woman, have you destroyed the negative energy, the demon that has been built when that problem happens? Have you destroyed it? And tell him, stop following me, I'm done with you. I'm done with him, or I'm done with her, and I'm done with you also. Because devils are ready and prepared to follow you. And the greatest point of following is when a bad thing happens to you. Please write that down. Demons are watching for bad things to happen to you, because that is when they will jumpstart their ministry towards you, their assignment towards you. Like you have an accident, they repo your car, you got broke, a young child dies, your child dies, A divorce happened. You lost your job. You got fired. You quarreled with someone. People betrayed you. That's a jump start. Somebody is watching to seize that opportunity. A cancer happened. Some sickness happened. A demon now get himself involved with that sickness in order to repeat the cycle. Anybody who come through you, the devil, that demon, is going to repeat that pattern in that person's life that was following you. Whoever you love, that demon is going to love. And you may not know this. When you get out of a bad situation, also make sure that you tell whatever force that follows that situation, either created it or seized that opportunity, it's over with me, it's over with me and them, and it's over between me and you. I'm a new creation, a brand new man or woman. All things are passed away. And that all things also include all the forces of darkness that follows that incident or that accident or that problem or situation. We are done and it's over with. I'll kill you if you follow me. You said you threaten them. And how do you do that? You don't say it like that. You simply shout and say, with the blood of Jesus, I bind you and send you back to where you belong. You can never come. Any day you try to come near me, you are violating my will and my choices in this physical planet, and you are not allowed to do so. That's what you're supposed to tell devils. You're violating my right and my space. And you are not allowed to do so. And they back off and they will never come because they now know you know.
Hallelujah.
You should know this. You should know that this is how it plays out.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Many of you do not know that there is a decree.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, there is a decree to put you where you are. You don't go back. You don't go forward. You stay there. I'm just letting you know. If it was that, I am in ministry just to be a middle class. Because majority of pastors are just middle class. That's it. Either they are poor class or they are middle class. That's majority. 99% of pastors are in that category. Very few goes into the high class. And majority of those who go into the high class are con artists and thieves. Just if you do it the right way and succeed very, very well. Whatever was written against you must be unwritten. That's what we are seeing here. Whatever was written, do everything to make sure. If you received a letter from the immigration of any country, put it down, stand on top of it and curse it and destroy it and apply again. And before you apply again, make sure before you put it in an envelope to seal it, you call me. Or if it is a court case of any kind, you call me. When you finish doing all the process, before you put it in an envelope or send it to the lawyer, you call me. And I will lay my hand on them while I'm here. And I'm sending it. I'm sending it as something that is coming from heaven, not something that is coming from the earth. And let me see who will escape it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Amen.
See, first, this new decree is to counter the other decree. When somebody has done something wrong against you, whether they took it to court or not, Let me teach you something else. Mary, you include that in the rite and in the book of rituals of our ministry. Write out what that person said or did or threatened you. Send me a copy. And put me on the phone. Call me. And read it out to me. And I will tell you what to do with it. Don't allow anybody to threaten you, to deprive you of your right. And then they go scot-free. Are you serious? They go free? First, this new decree was written to the Jews. All the Jews. Why? Because they are the ones in trouble. Then to all the leaders and rulers and whatever they call them. All the prefects of the different nations and territories and provinces. Even if there is a decree that has been written against you, or something that has been sent to you from the court that you know is not right, or from your job, I want to teach you how to write your own decree and read it. It's not something you say with your mouth. A decree is not spoken. A decree is written. Please write that down. A decree is not spoken. It is written, and then you pause, you think over it, make sure it's okay. Then you now read it out, and then it carries power. So that even before, and it is when you have put whatever they send to you on the ground and smash it with your legs. Especially you have to make a copy. And the copy of it, the photocopy is the one you put on the ground. The original copy, you put it in a file. And before you stand on top of whatever you want to do, write your own counter letter, your own counter decree. One idiot that called himself my supervisor in Wisconsin when I did my clinical chaplaincy, one very wicked man. He's a pastor of my own denomination. He wrote some stupid things about me because I was very famous and popular among the chaplains. I was the one that received the most money. He never wanted. How can you be training a group of pastors, but you don't want us to interact outside the classroom? Can you imagine that? You can't visit each other's house. You can't go to play soccer with each other. And I broke all that rules. I'm serious. I broke all that rules. I attacked him. I'm serious. I attacked him. My supervisor went into his office, closed the door, and I sat him down, and I told him things that he has never heard from any human being since he was born. And I warned him. It wasn't long when I left there, they threw all of them out. He wrote something stupid about me. He could not believe that guys that come from Africa are smart. They are well educated. He was shocked. He went to Scotland to go and insult the Scottish people, and they threw him out of Scotland. And you are coming to insult me? No, I will not take any disrespect from any human being. Sorry. My humility doesn't go there. Especially when you physically attack me with your words and you insult my intelligence, I'll deal with you. When he wrote what he wrote, I told him I'm not signing it. I'm going to write about you on it. I'm going to write my own on what you've written. And I did. And I asked him to sign it too. If you want me to sign yours, you sign mine. And when I went to University of Texas, MD Anderson Cancer Center for an interview to go and do my supervisory program there, it was a shocking thing how if you are bold and you know that somebody is wicked towards you because you are famous, you are more intelligent than him, and you do a better job than him. We began the tradition of everyone who died in that hospital. It's a major heart hospital. Everyone who died in that Lutheran hospital, we call their families to come for, what do we call it, a memorial service. Oh, he said there will be nobody there. There will be nobody in that service. There will be nobody there with Idika Imeri. Are you serious? I don't care. You have been in ministry. You were there long before my father. It doesn't matter. But that is not where the power is. I got the power, Baba. I got the power, I got the fire, and I got the people. And I invited those families. The service started at 5. By 3 o'clock, the chapel was filled. The chapel was filled with white folks from all over Wisconsin showed up. And then he came to me to tell me, hey, can I come and minister in the service? I said, no, you are not allowed here, sir. That was my supervisor. I told him, no, you are not allowed here, sir. Get out of here. And then the owners of the hospital came. One of the brothers that owned that hospital is the co-owner of the hospital with the Lutheran Church. His 2 brothers. He had a heart problem. And I was his spiritual leader, his spiritual advisor. I'm his chaplain. And do you know my supervisor, knowing that these are the big money people, he wanted to come and tell me that you go and let him go and minister today. I said, no, you are not needed here. Sorry. And when he tried to go around to talk with the doctors and the owners so that I will not be near that man and his family, they need a big shot like him to be there. You know what the man himself said to him? I don't want to see you. I don't want to see your face. I want that African boy. I want him in here. Why? The man saw me when I preached at the Father's Day service in the Presbyterian Church, the First Presbyterian Church, in one of the cities in Wisconsin. The man was, wow, that's what we need in America. And money began to come secretly from different. I mean, you'll have even people who were in charge of the Masonic lodges all over Wisconsin. They were coming to me. They became my friends. I'm serious. There's one of them, he has a beard. His beard is right from his head down to his feet. Beard, big long beard. And his hair is from his head down from his back, down to the top, down to his buttocks, all the way to the ground. I'm serious.
Wow.
They all became my friends because of what they saw that was happening. People who come to that hospital, I will tell them, you are going to do well. You will do very well. And it was easy. A mayor from one of the cities was coming on the weekend to pick me to go and stay with him and his mother because of what they saw. Lutheran pastors, Baptist pastors, Unitarian, people in the lodges, police officers, Navy officers, medical doctors, judges. They all came along. Don't worry about people's jealousies, little jealousies. When I went to University of Texas MD Anderson Hospital, they asked me to come for an interview in Houston, Texas. I didn't take the job because of my health, because I couldn't stand the humidity That's the first place I've been to in the world is Houston. During summer, I almost died there because of the heat. I had a heat stroke. When I went for the interview, just imagine interview takes a long time that they drill you for me to be someone that works with cancer patients because it's part of the things I did. Part of my qualification is in that area, oncology, especially with gerontology with elderly folks. So it's cardiac, cardio-coronary, cardiac rehab, and oncology. And then I spent a long time being trained clinically to work with gerontology that are dealing with cancer and also with dementia and Alzheimer. I have all that certification here. When I went to MD Anderson, the guy in charge of the chaplaincy unit there, I gave him my report that my supervisor in Wisconsin wrote. The man read it and laughed. He read it and laughed. His name is David, Dr. David. He's another Presbyterian pastor. I didn't even know. He was another Presbyterian pastor. I'm a Presbyterian pastor. My supervisor in Wisconsin, Presbyterian pastor. And now there's another. And this guy said to me secretly, he said, "Can I tell you something? Man of God, can I tell you something?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You see, your supervisor, I went to school with him. He's a wicked man. That man almost cost me not to be what I am today." I said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yep." He said, "That's why when I read what he wrote about you, I knew who he is. That's why I just overlook it." See? Many of you see somebody write something about you, start to shake. The man asked me before the panel of examiners, he said, "What do you say about yourself?" Because that's what I want to hear. Not what somebody wrote about you or said about you. And I began to speak about myself. And you know what I did? I didn't even talk. I told him, I need the president of the hospital at MD Anderson. I need the matron of the nurses. And I pick one other doctor. And I say, we are going to do a role play. Everybody like, what? I say, yep. I want us to do a role play. So this is somebody who came to be interviewed. I'm now going to interview them. And through a role play. I say, you're going to be a father. You're going to be a mother. And the two of you, couple have just lost a young person to cancer. So that's the role play we are going to play. I left the interview room, and then I came back in a few seconds and I knocked on the door. And then we started the role play. By the time we finished, they told me, okay, go and have lunch. Go and have lunch. It's over. The interview is over. Go and have lunch. The interview is over. That's when, for the first time, I left. And then there was a nurse and a doctor, and they told me, okay, let's show you around. And then we also went outside. They are used to the sun. I wasn't. A few days later, they called me. They've given me the job. Then they sent a letter. Then they sent money ahead of time. But I couldn't go. The heat was too much for me to take in Houston. But I got the lesson. Don't worry about what people write or say because of they are jealous, they are wicked. They don't want any other person to prosper. Recently, I called Nigeria, and I was talking with my boss. And I said, after you were in charge of this office, there's an office, the Verity Secretary office, and the rest came. How many people have they helped? How many people have they trained? How many people have they sent overseas? He was dumbstruck. He couldn't say a thing. They are people, they come. The scholarship is there. The money is there. They will not even give it to even their own blood relation to take advantage of. Tell me about it. Mary will say, tell me about it. and they will make wicked decrees. Our job, I have already told you. Why? Those of you who are my covenant partners, that's why I want you to stay with me. Don't go anywhere. It's because you were chosen to change history. The history of our world is not going to be the same. It took 12 men, and one of them was a thief, and he was knocked out. He knocked himself out. And then Paul came in. It took a Paul to take the gospel out there. It took a Peter, who in spite of his nature, went out there. Don't worry about your behavior or how some people perceive you. Know what you are out to do there. Know what you are out to do in this planet. That's what matters. So the people who don't know who you are, who don't want you here, they write anything, they say anything, you issue your own decrees. Let's go to verse 10, please. Let's go. Now we are going to run. We are getting it on.
Verse 10. And he wrote in the name of King Ahasuerus.
He is writing in the name of King Ahasuerus. Just like Haman wrote, Mordecai is now writing. Don't sit down there, I'm a poor person. There is not much I can do about the issue. There is a lot you can do about the issue. Esther and Mordecai did not sit down and cry and wait to be executed. Hold on one second. This is getting interesting.